Hi friends, good to see you again. And this is an English video that I'm making of the same one I made in Tamil. Yesterday we've been packing up. We're gonna leave US for about 5 months. We're gonna be on a trip to India for 2 months. The first month in India, like the November, which is the next month, we'll be traveling to Vizag, Hyderabad, Bhubaneswar, and Bangalore and Mysore. Then December, I'll be mostly I'll be in Tamil Nadu, and in January we'll be in Malaysia. March and April we'll be in Australia. So one of the things I've been, we've been like packing and moving. So I was slightly stressed, and my wife looked at me and she asked me yesterday, "Why does your face look different?" You know, maybe it's just a very simple question, but it just triggered a lot of thoughts into me. I'm going to share a testimony of how I was able to be, able to have so many doors open in Australia. How it all started. So so this question that she left me, why is your face different? Because I was stressed, because I was thinking about so many things. I could justify that. No, I didn't justify that. I realized it's a time to change. Yeah, just the countenance of your face, it needs to change. It needs a little more repair. It needs a little more touch up. That's what I would use. But see, this is an interesting testimony I'm going to share here. I would like to be quick, but I don't know. I don't know how to be quick. I think this is the problem with most of the preachers. There are some preachers that are really good, but some are like me, and I would like to keep it short. So I was preaching in a place called Pondicherry in India. It was a French colony. In 2013 November, it was the 8th and 9th of November 2013. I was called to preach on an Assemblies of God church. It's called the ECRAG church. It's situated on the East Coast Road of Pondicherry. And I was called to preach for a prayer camp. So I was actually the preacher who was supposed to preach in the afternoon session because I'm a young preacher. So I can keep the people from falling asleep, So the toughest session came to me because I'm young and I have no choice and I have to grab it. But then there's another great pastor who was ministering on the previous session, which is in the morning sessions. So I usually come to the meeting only on the afternoon, during the afternoon sessions. And when my session starts, because I don't want to be there, like almost stepping on his toes or anything like that. So the second day of the meeting, early morning, I was sitting in the presence of God. I was waiting about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. I got this verse that I will take you to the desired port. And when I read the word port, strangely, my mind immediately said Sydney. I'm like, why Sydney? What's about Sydney? 3 months before that, I had an Australian pastor come to India, and I was traveling with him for about 10 days. We were going around and stuff like that. So cut the story short. He gave me $30 when he was leaving. He gave me a lot more money, but I said no, I'm good. So he just left me $30 as a token. He said, "What if this is a seed for you to come to Australia?" I said, "I'll pray about it." So I said, I just kept it in my wallet, inside a zip actually. I said to myself, it'll take a while. I don't know when it's that time, but maybe let's see. So 3 months later, I'm preaching in this prayer camp. Early morning, I'm meditating, desired port, and it says Sydney in my mind. So I said, "God, if that's your will, I want you to talk to me today." So that afternoon, I'm going to the meeting. The pastor who was supposed to preach in the first session is still continuing in my time, actually, which is supposed to be my hour. And he's still continuing. So I thought, okay, I'll take a camera. I started taking a videotape because he was ministering at that time. It was an altar call. There was so much deliverance happening, healing happening. So I thought, wow. So I was taping it. He turned towards me and he started prophesying. He said, "Your next assignment is to Australia." I was doubting. And he looked at me again and he said, "You have Australian dollars in your wallet right now. Won't you believe me now?" I said, "I surrender." And nobody knows about it. Now that I take it as a word. And then the next 10 or 15 minutes, he didn't stop. He went on prophesying until I was hammered on the floor with the power of the Lord. And I was on the floor and I woke up. Somebody had taped it for me. That was awesome. And the reason why I say all the details of the story is because someday, if you get curious to know whether these stories are real, that's the reason I leave the details of the story here. So you'll know where it happened, when it happened, and stuff like that. Yeah, I like to keep it like that. So, and then I got this verse, the prophecy. So I came back, I started preparing for my trip to Australia. God gave me, it's it's a pure miracle that God gave me a business visa, which didn't happen for many people. And so I'm leaving on 4 months after that. Yeah, December. No, 3 months after that. So 3 months after that, 3 months after that, the prophecy I received, I'm leaving. It's in February. I'm going to Australia. I'm going to the New South Wales, which is, I'm landing in Sydney again. My first feet that I put into Australia was in Sydney. So from there, it's about 3-hour drive to Newcastle, and then that's where I stayed. And I had 3 meetings booked for me. The first meeting was in a house prayer meeting, and the second meeting was in a church on a Sunday afternoon, because Sunday evening, the pastor did not trust me enough because I didn't have enough reputation behind me or credentials behind me, to stars behind me to show off, or I've not even written a book or something. Nowadays it's a thing about the Western churches. Whether do you have a book, have you written something? How do I know who you are? And stuff like that. So, and I'm from India, had a lot of tags to it. So the pastor said, how about an evening? And then we go to that evening meeting. To our surprise, we got double booked. There was an American evangelist there. And he is going to preach there. And the crowd is actually for him because he was well known in Australia by that time. This is happening in Cessnock in Australia, in New South Wales. And I'm like, the pastor who came with me was really upset. He said, John, let's go. Because, one of the thing about, this, the Western people, the Aussies, Americans, they want to keep the word. When someone doesn't keep a word, they don't take it light, They don't want that to happen. If you don't keep the time, if you don't keep the word, the story, right? So he said, let's go, John. I said, let me go to the toilet and come. I went to the toilet because I couldn't contain my emotions. I went to the toilet, I looked at myself in the mirror and I asked God, why, Lord? And he looked at me and said, God told me this word. He said, why does the countenance of your face change? This was something I meditated a while ago from the book of Genesis, first book in the Bible, and I think it's chapter 4, if I'm not wrong, chapter 4, and verse 5. He did not respect Cain and his offering, and Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. In Tamil, it says, why does your countenance differ in my presence? And God told me, this is a church. Yes, if you're not preaching, why not? Why not you go back and sit there? And I said, yeah. Why do I even take it so personal? I said, okay, I'm going to go back. So I came back. I sat in the meeting. I worshipped. I learned a lot of things. I know how to speak in English, but I didn't know how to communicate with the Aussies. But when I saw this American evangelist minister to these people, and then I realized that's the way to talk and preach to these people, because I come from a different setup of preaching. And now I'm getting exposed to a total Western style, and I want to know how this is done, And that's what is happening there. And I started to learn a lot of things, and I enjoyed the service so much. By this meantime, the pastor who got me double booked, the pastor of the church, started to worry, he became slightly burdened about me, and he said, John, how come you were able to sit in the service, enjoy the service? And I had a fellowship with him, dinner with him after that. He said, man, I'm really impressed with you. And he said, I want to do something for you. I want to call for a weekly meeting this time, because there was a huge crowd already for the American evangelist. He stepped up and said, hey, we're going to have this Indian pastor preach to us this week. Strangely, what he did was he advertised it on all the local media, completely on the local media, Christian radios, papers, and I had a huge turnout. When I put my feet into New South Wales, I was supposed to stay in New South Wales for 28 days, and I had 3 meetings. What happened? I had 24 meetings to preach in the next 20 days. I preached every other day. New churches, new connections, new cities, new towns. And I established myself in Australia like that. And I kept thinking to myself, people did not recognize me in Australia because I was, I raised somebody from dead or did something crazy. Yeah, there was so many miracles that happened after that. But the most significant thing that gave me recognition in that country was my countenance of my face. Very important. Sometimes we take it very much in light. You think, what's it? I'm upset. That's it. I'm not having a good day. No. You're actually losing a lot of favor. You're actually losing a lot of people that you could have ministered at that moment. You're losing a lot of things that could have been done at that time just because you're upset, just because you're stressed. And that's the word I want to bring today. Connecting this with my testimony. I took it seriously. Yesterday afternoon I prayed. I said to God, release my face. Release my face from that rigidity. Release my face from that upset, look the resting whatever face, and I said to God, God, change that. I want to be calmed in your presence. I want to be quieted. I want to be comforted in your presence. I prayed that prayer, and there is a verse for you. If if you would be wondering, is there a verse in the Bible that would help me? Yes. Bible says he became the salvation of our face. I could talk about this in detail in many, many areas in your life. Sometimes shame, sometimes guilt, sometimes anger. Sometimes in a lot of things I could address. I could address this to you in many, many ways. I can just talk about it in many different ways. I can minister to you on this. But I choose this. I personally choose this verse. And Psalm 42 verse 11. Why are you cast down? Psalm 42 verse 11. Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you disquieted within me? Wow. Hope in God, for I shall yet praise him, the help of my countenance and my God. He says, you are the salvation of my countenance, of my face. God's salvation is so deep. It happens in your soul and it reflects on your face. And God died for your face too. I really believe that. Because his face was marred. His image was marred. With blood and scars. Another verse, it says he made his face like a rock. Some of us know how to make our face like a rock. That you need deliverance from that. Honestly, I'm telling you. Don't be rigid, because that's going to directly affect your family. That's going to the first person who gets affected by you is always your immediate friend or your partner, or your children. They are the first one to get affected. You think I'm just having a bad day? No, it is so contagious. You're not just having a bad day, you're going to spread the bad day. How dangerous it is. It's very infectious. Same as joy. Joy is very contagious. Salvation is so contagious. The joy of the presence of God, that's so contagious. Why not spread that? I'm also going to tell you another thing about it. We all want to love God. But the truth is we all have to receive love from God first. Because we don't have the love to give. Imagine many children who grew up in very bad families, or I wouldn't say the word bad, broken families, or some bad, things that has happened in their life, and it's so tough for them to trust someone or love someone. How can you trust and love God? So that's when you need to first receive love from God, trust God, and then you can reflect that love back again into life, into the people around you. You can become a good influence for people. And I tell you what, when you have that countenance, you will attract a lot of favor in business, in your workplace. It might even bring you a promotion in ministry. I mean it. God brings you such divine connections because there is such divine grace that is just flowing on you, and that's reflected on your face. Hey, wake up today. Don't be angry. Don't be upset. Don't give in to anxiety. Don't be depressed. Tell God, God, I want you to set me free. I want you to give me that deliverance on my face. I want that brightness in my face. I want that joy in my eyes. I want that person who people would find comfort in me. Hey, that's what God created you to be. And I want you to realize that. I want you to recognize it. Because unless you recognize it, I recognized my anger a few years ago. I had such an anger issue. But now I have a son who's 17 months old. I'm very cautious that I never want that anger to come out. But I don't want that to be inside also. I want that to be cleared away from my life. I want that anger to be replaced with love of God. Yes, I don't want rage. There are many times I've preached encouragement with rage in it. There are many times I've preached encouragement with rage in it. And I'm correcting myself today. Now I'm correcting myself. I'm asking for more grace, more love. Even before Jesus went to the cross, to give himself on the cross, he went to Zacchaeus' house to have a meal. That changed his life. Love. Love changed a man, such a bad person, into a good person like then. What all we could be if we could love. If we could have that face of peace and love, that we could care about every one of them around us. Trust me, I'll tell you another word. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. Don't try to fix everything in your life. Don't try to prove yourself. You'll get tired. Leave everything in the hands of God. Praise him. Pray praise and examine yourself every way possible. As I said, even your face, even your eyes, even your ears, even your thoughts, even your meditations. Take it to God. When I tell you what, God is going to fix your face. I'll tell you the most beautiful thing is joy on your face. There is no such great makeover like having joy all over your face. Be blessed, brothers. Be blessed, sister. I tell you what, get ready because God is about to do something awesome in your life. Don't be sad. Don't be worried. Smile today because the joy of the Lord is our strength. Bless you guys.